Record. There we go. We're going to record the whole event, and so be aware of that. And then after the event, within a day or two, we'll make this available to you and everyone who's registered. So just a few words of introduction to our very special guest and my very dear friend, Ahmad. Dr. Ahmad Dobea is a physician and psychiatrist who loves people and loves life. His research interests lie at the intersection of nonviolent communication and the brain. He finds a great joy in contributing to others, but also in receiving from others. What I know about his community, we just shared this, is that there's a mutual nurturing going on between Dr. Dobea and his community and him. And we hope tonight shares a bit of that mutual nurturing. Ahmed is the owner and scientific director of a psychiatric hospital that is 60 miles north of Cairo. He's founder and leader of the Egyptian Association for Nonviolent Communication Psychotherapy. Twice a week, he meets with people across the Arabic-speaking world in an open Zoom-based gathering to learn and practice nonviolent communication. One of the gatherings is for adults, many of whom are therapists and healers, and I'm grateful to see a number of you with us this evening. It is late where you are. Thank you for being awake at this hour and with us. Another one of these meetings is for children, and he uses his own children's book and the story of Susu and Jiko, the giraffe and the jackal. Show us the book. This is Dr. Dobea's book, and he reads a story a week from that book, and the gathering is for children. All of his giving and receiving encourages me, but the thing that encourages me most is your presence and our friendship. And I'm really grateful, Ahmed, to share you with my community and to share your community with us this evening. Welcome.
Thank you so much for this. I'm very glad that I'm with you all, and I would like to go directly to what I would like to say. I hope that it will be meaningful and nourishing. Is it clear for you all? Yes. Few questions we may answer as a kind of knowing each other. What's your need? What's my need behind being here, attending this workshop? I would like that, if you please, write down via chat, what is the need you have behind being here at this moment?
Understanding and clarity. Understand, learning. To learn. Learning, warmth, support, family, proud of my father. Learning something new, to engage.
Okay.
Learning, belonging, communication, community.
Thank you so much. And what is the need? I mean you, instead of I. You choose to postpone while you are attending here. What is the need you left?
sleep and rest.
Sleeping, sleep, sleep. Yes. Thank you so much.
Exercise.
Yes. Much play, family. Okay. Balance. Rest. You finished. The third question is, what is the feeling that I have after I made this choice? What is the name of the feeling that you have after you choose to be here and to leave these needs? Excited, optimistic, excited, grateful, excited, joy, grateful, happy, joy, proud, excited. Excited, connected, excited, worried, and excited. Hopeful, hopeful, anxious, curious. Thank you so much for this kind of connection. I felt that connection between me and you. Now, I'd like to go. The title is How Nonviolent Communication Can Transform Our Brain and Nervous System, or our nervous system, and enable us to heal and thrive. And this is my name. Okay. The brain is like this garden or this wood, 100 billion, or at minimum 86 billion of neurons. Each neuron is exactly like a tree with roots, stem, and branches and leaves. So this is the shape of the brain, nearly the shape of the brain. The outer part called cortex, and this yellow part called brainstem, and this part called limbic system, and this is the cortex. Okay, forget about the names. I don't care about it. What I can say, which is I first thing that I would like to say, that violence, abuse, traumas will increase the lower part, exactly this part, the amygdala, and all of these parts, which is the brainstem and some other areas, about 40% of its size and sensitivity. It may increase the size or increase the number or increase the sensitivity of the cells, of the neurons, of brain cells, about 40%. So our violence, or the violence we see in TV, in everywhere, abuse, harsh words, will do this to our brains. And absence of nourishing relationships, which we can call neglect, will decrease about 20% of the cortex, particularly the area in the front. So we are dealing with two parts of the brain. The cortex, particularly this area, the front, we call it medial prefrontal cortex, particularly this, medial prefrontal cortex, or the front. And the other area, which is the back, the lower and the back. The back, the lower, will increase about 40% with abuse, with aggression, with violence, something like that. And the cortex will decrease about 20% by neglect, by having no communication, no nourishing communications, no nourishing relationships with caring others. That's what's happening in the brain, particularly in childhood. Particularly in childhood. It's not a closed subject that it will remain atrophied or hypertrophied, but it could be regained again. It could, so it's that dynamic process. It's not the end of the text. This one, Dr. Bruce Perry, in 1997, he, from Harvard, he discovered this. He discovered this after the Romanian orphan, after Ceausescu went, he discovered that their skulls are different. And they started to see what's happening in their brain. And he discovered that this back and lower part is increased, is hypertrophied, enlarged and sensitive. And this frontal part is lower, is atrophied or less in size and activity. What I can see that this is a brain again, this red part called the brainstem, this blue part called limbic system, and this green area is the cortex. Cortex is about 3 millimeters like this, covering the brain. It's like 4 pages, the size of 4 pages, but it's folded. It's about 15% of the brain, about 15 billion cell or neuron. And the rest of the brain is about 84, 85, 86, something like that. Okay. What makes this lower and back part, which is the brainstem and the nearby area, enlarge it or grow to this extent? We call it brainstem sensitizers, or mainly the communication blockers, like if we face judgmentalism, comparison, criticism, denial of responsibility, observed language, domination consciousness, hate language, antipathy, which is the opposite of empathy, where it's it's very clear to you deserve antipathy, some body language, vocal tones, and dogmatism, not being malleable or flexible. Or the other part, which is when someone is badly in need of empathy and confronted with an advice, conversating, correcting, educating, explaining, incentivizing. Oh, sorry, there is voice. Okay. Interrogation, one-upping, shutting down, storytelling, victimization. I suppose that if I do have a son and he had a very tough event in his school and he's coming crying for me, and I started to interrogate or to explain or do one-upping or something like that, this is very similar to those like judgmentalism or hate language or denial of responsibility. All of these and many others will increase the sensitivity of the back and lower part and increase the number for about 40%. On the other hand, what will make this part grow and stay healthy, the frontal part to grow and to stay healthy, which is the frontal cortex cultivators, particularly the medial prefrontal cortex. All of these I grasp it from the neuroscience, the activities or the events or the what can we do that will cultivate and nourish our cortex, like to have a sacred pose, to stay, to stop before acting, to be patient. This is the sacred pose. To monitor and regulate, which is the work of the mind. Mind could be defined as the two functions of monitoring everything around us, and then we try to regulate it. It's very, very similar to connect before correct. To monitor is to observe and to be connected with, and then to regulate. Like a man who is driving a bicycle, he is monitoring the road and regulating himself, either here or there. These three functions, being the ability to have a pause, which is to stop, to monitor, to regulate, to have intentions, to stop and to have another intention. This is the work of the prefrontal cortex. To be attentive, this is the work of dorsolateral prefrontal cortex here. In acceptance, gratitude, naming things, naming our emotion, naming our needs is the work of ventromedial prefrontal cortex. Planning for request, which is some sort of thinking, creative thinking, how we plan for a nourishing request. Discernment, to all executive acts that enrich life. Creativity, awareness, intuition, insight, all the morals, like being kind, like charities, like being polite with some, all the morals to keep the water on the earth, well, something like that. Empathy and compassion. sympathy, empathy, and compassion have the three places like here, like exactly sympathy, empathy, and compassion from back to front. And not all, but I collect what's going with NVC. And lastly, to have nourishing relationships, which will do some sort of what's called integration. It's not only a relationships outside, but it's a relationships between the different functions of the brain, which is called integration. We integrate thoughts and feelings. We integrate memories, we integrate many, many things. So these are the functions or the activities that may cultivate this. And these are the activities which make do this harm or cultivate this, enlarge this. And we can go from here to there and from there to here through any modality. And I found that NVC, nonviolent communication, do this, because I found this is very related to nonviolent communication. This is violent communication, exactly, not nonviolent. It is the violent communication, and this is a nonviolence. Okay. Again, what will happen also if we increase or stimulate the back and lower part? We will have too much cortisol, too much adrenaline, too much noradrenaline in our body. They are very, very beautiful neurotransmitters and hormones, because they make us able to fight, to flee, to do our job, to do something for our muscles, our body. But if there is no real fight, if there is no real battle, no real war, it will be an excess, and it will kill us, or it will eat our body. So cortisol, it will hurt the body, all over the body, because there is no real fight. Okay, it's mostly imaginative fight or defensive battle. And when we activate this, we will have another 7 neurotransmitters and hormones, like oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin, serotonin, gamma-aminobutyric acid, acetylcholine, glutamate. And these 7 hormones and neurotransmitters are the antidotes of these 3 toxic materials: cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. For example, oxytocin is the bonding hormone, the hormone of love, the hormone of babies, of lactation. Okay, dopamine is for happiness. Endorphin is for killing the pain. Serotonin is for happiness, for being quiet. Gamma-aminobutyric acid making us very calm, antagonize the noradrenaline and adrenaline, and so on, so on, so. So when we stimulate this back and lower part, we will have these toxic substance, and we will, when we cultivate this frontal part, we will have this very, very kind neurotransmitters and hormone, like the beautiful rain that stop the fire. And this is also can do, oxytocin, dopamine, endorphin will do a job by antidoting the work of cortisol, adrenaline, and noradrenaline. Okay. After this information, we can do a little exercise where we can bring to ourselves what can activate this back and lower part, the brainstem, and we will start from this to do something related to self-compassion, and we will see how when we let this part cultivated or immediately working and immediately giving its hormones and neurotransmitters, what will happen to our cell? What will happen to body? Okay. We can start this exercise by remembering a moment where you said or did something to yourself or to someone else. And just after this moment, you saw yourself as less than perfect. For me, since about 8 years, I started to be with NVC daily, practicing and reading, seeing, and since then I intended not to be harsh with myself and not to be harsh with my kids, my sons. And since few days, I was very harsh with my son. This is a moment, okay? We can have all moments like this for ourselves or others. After this moment, nearly you are regretting, or we think that we are less than perfect. We say to ourselves something, okay? If you remember a moment like this, I would like to have a sign that you bring a moment like this. Okay, yes, yes. Okay. Then we will start to do something. Yes, this is the umbrella of intention. We will have an intention to do something about what we said to ourselves. Can we please write down either in chat, on chat, or on a paper beside you, or you can tell yourself what things you told yourself, how you spoke with yourself at this moment, what sentence you said to yourself about yourself. And then we will have this intention about it. I said to myself again, Ahmad, the same fault, you never learn. It seems that you will stay for like this forever. That's what I said, for example. You can write it on chat, you can write it on a paper, whatever you like. Should come on. Think about the perspective of the other person. And I have patience before responding. I should. Yes, thank you, Nancy. I said to myself, you should ashamed of yourself. I'm the same stupid. I really messed up this time. I blew it. I'm late for my achievement work, what I should do as usual. How could you be that bad? Life should be different. You will never learn or change. It's my fault. It's my responsibility. when I do this to myself, I'm speaking about myself. When I do this to myself, when I speak this language with myself, I usually say this is a nice language to make myself polite, to fix myself. I used to think that this language is good. Laila said, this is not the first time when you will learn. When I criticize and blame myself, I think that this is morality, this is morals, this is goes with all religions to make myself stop from being that bad person again. And unfortunately, I don't agree right now with this. Let us have an intention about this. The intention is 4 things. To have a purpose, what you will do with yourself, with your talk to yourself, and to have an attention, because the communication blockers will arise, will take you back again. This part is very strong, very, very strong, and very fast. It will take you again. When you start to have an intention, a purpose, you will hear another voice say, do it, you will fail again. Something like that. And we need to be very attentive to this. And we need to accept that we may not succeed this time, or we may succeed. I will accept the result. And lastly, I'm very grateful to myself that I did this step. So let's play this together. I will think about the purpose of my exercise right now with myself, about the language I speak with myself, the harsh language I hear it by myself. What's my purpose? What is the purpose? To be kind with myself, to communicate, to know, to calm myself down, to rationalize my acts. What's my intention? What's my purpose? Okay, if you choose your purpose, particularly if it is a purpose that goes with life, enriching life, we will take care that we will activate these parts of attention, because our aggressive part will wake up and will say, haha, you can't do it. And we will look for acceptance. Maybe this time, maybe not. I may do it, I may not. And at the end, I'm very grateful to myself that I am looking to myself this moment in this way. I'm very grateful. And this intention, purpose, attention, acceptance, gratitude will cover all process we will go in it. If you do so, give me a sign that you started a little bit to do so. You can raise hand, or your virtual hand, or your actual hand. Can go to the next step? Yes. We will start to write on chat how I'm feeling and what's the need do I have right now related to visiting this sensitive topic, related to doing an exercise about a very sensitive topic to myself, which is self-hatredness or self-harsh behavior. How I feel about the exercise. For me, I will give you an example. I feel some anxiety, I'm worried, because I need to succeed and I'm not sure that I will do it. I'm not sure that I will succeed. So I feel some anxiety. And I need to be sure that this exercise will do something good for me. I'm not sure. I would like to be sure. Okay, you can write the feelings and needs related to this moment, to visiting a sensitive topic, to related to the exercise right now. If you please write down. Please write on chat how you feel and what's your need. You can write it in 2 words. Feeling anxious because I need to be sure, or need assurance, need easiness. Worried that I need peace with myself. Worried and I need peace with myself. Thank you, Hibat. Thank you, Hibat. Worried. Openness, hope, little worry. Please make your voice loud, okay? Sad and needing clarity on how not to ruminate on the bad thoughts. Yes, thank you so much. Sad, I need forgiveness. Stress, shame, guilt, need for healing, forgiveness, freedom, peace, respect. Thank you, Ines. Thank you. Stressed. Angry, and I need relief. Need understanding, learning, growth. Shukran, Unsa. Thank you, Unsa. Finished? Yes, sad, and I need connection. This step is a rehearsal. We are just visiting feelings and needs for the next steps. The next 3 steps coming soon. Then, just after we did this, we were regretting. We said something to ourselves about what we said. And at this moment of regret, just after the act, we made what we call it a mistake. And just after a few seconds, few minutes, we said something. At this moment, what's behind the regret? What are the feelings and needs behind your talk to yourself? For myself, for example, I was feeling annoyed, and I was needing to protect my kids. And I was needing to protect myself also. So behind talk, there were some feelings and needs. Sarah said, achievements, movement, learning, fear to progress, need for growth. Yes. Kelly, need for improvement. Fear because I need some understanding. Need for acceptance. Needing an acceptance. Yes, yes. Spacious acceptance. Irritated and I'm needing effectiveness. Seems that you end. Okay. What about the moment of the act? What about when you did what you did? When you said what you said? What was your feeling? And what was your need? When you did what you did? When I beat my child, I was feeling and needing such and such. When I went back to cigarette smoking again, I was feeling and beat and needing. You can start. What about the moment of the act? Worthy, meaning. The third thing, legacy. When I did what I did with myself or with someone else, I was feeling fear, yes, yes, and I was needing respect, mutuality, harmony, and peace. Yes, all of these needs and all of this fear were present there at this moment of the act. From Elizabeth, you are needing connection and collaboration. And you found yourself alone. From Kelly, frustrated and you're needing understanding. You're not seen, understood. You felt this frustration. Yes. Mm-hmm. Seems that you feeling anger and needing, feeling angry and I need cooperation. Yes, yes. Ahmad, happiness and I needed to communicate. I feel anxious, alone, confused. I need understanding and to be appreciated, to be appreciated, to be understood. Yes. Okay. This stage or this moment, we call it we move. And this is very, very related to knowing or empathizing with the need at the moment of the act, which we can call it forgiveness. Very, very similar to mourning and forgiveness. And then the last one, the last step, which, what can you request? How, what is the request you can do? You can ask yourself to do it. What you have learned from this experience, behind the moment of exercising, there was some needs. And at the moment of regret, you have some needs. At the moment of the act, you have some other needs. What is the lesson you have learned from this experience? What can you ask yourself to do next time or this time? What do you know about yourself? After all of this, you can start to write what kind of request you can do, or what is the lesson you have learned from this exercise about yourself. To take a sacred pose before acting. Yes, yes, yes. To tell myself, stop. Would you be willing to voluntarily share that you made? I'm sorry about. Okay. Would you be willing to voluntarily share that you made a mess and would like the opportunity to clean it up? Yes, yes, yes. Take your sacred pose before taking or acting. Thank you. Thank you. Can you remember to breathe, to slow down? Yes. Thank you, Unsa. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Lou, Landette, Jones. Thank you, John Swing, Rasha, Unsa, and to have a moment to look for the need. Yes, to look at the need and for the need of the other person, to empathize with others. Yes. To be grateful for what I achieved and ask for help. To be grateful and ask for help. Elizabeth, to ask yourself to slow down, breathe, and gather your skills. I'm hard on myself. I don't need to take shame too much with me. Okay? I will be very happy. And I was very happy when I changed all my requests into very doable requests, very small and doable requests. Sometimes I made it a very small paper, a sticky note here and there. Or when I changed my vague request into very doable, very simple, it will make me very satisfied. At this moment, I can assure you that with all what we did, by my knowing about the brain, about the neurons exactly, I'm sure that we played with many, many, many neurons here by remembering to stop, by being patient, by having some insights, by being intuitive, by naming feelings, naming needs, monitoring things, trying to direct ourselves. We look for something very moral and reaching ourselves and life. And that's all of these parts worked. And when they work, they start to send their beautiful neurotransmitters and hormones. And their neurotransmitters and hormone will stop the fire of the other neurotransmitters came from the back and lower part. And that's how we play the game. with the repetition, we will make these parts bigger, more sensitive, cultivated, more connected, more integrated, and we will have some very kind message to this back and lower part. It's not to be killed, it's to be kind with him. We need to be empathizing with our brain, our lower and back brain, as if it is a dog in front of my home howling because he's seeing someone stranger. I have to take it here and okay, to cuddle my dog. That's the message I will say to my back and lower brain. And at the end, I'm so glad that you gave me time, attention, cooperation, and presence. I hope that I didn't exceed the time. Yes, I didn't. Oh, my love. Oh, my love. Thank you so much. If you do have anything, I think we'll have a few minutes. It's all for it's now, Steve. I will send the PowerPoint for you, Steve, and the video is with you. If you do have something to say, I'll be happy to hear it.
I want to express my appreciation for how you made the science of neuroscience, which is pretty complicated, very understandable, and I was able to follow, and it makes a lot of sense to me about how what goes on in the brainstem and here, and how they work together, and how too much of this back here could cause me some trouble. So thank you so very much.
I appreciate your saying. I'm missing you, and I'm promising that I will come back to the candidate calls.
We'll be glad to see you. So, but at your speed, I invite you not to make it a should.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe. There's something written in chat. Yes. That's good. Okay. Or on myself, I don't need to take. Okay. I'm very grateful. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you so much. I really appreciate hearing from you. I did have a question. I was sort of thinking about the 40% and then the 20% that you proposed at the beginning. And I was wondering, whether rumination, kind of playing the negative over and over again, is that somehow attributed to why this 40% is so high? And I wonder, could it get higher, obviously, if you're stuck in that space?
If I got the message that you are afraid about the 20% and 40%, that it's very generalized. Okay. Actually, what was happening in the Romanian orphan institute was very, very unbelievable. There was no money, so no care, no caregivers, huge amount of kids beating each other, biting each other, and with epileptic fits, and eating in the same place, making wash to them all with hose, very much abuse and no care. They collect them in Romania because of something political. They called it that the kids of the state.
Mhm.
And Romania, its finances go down. And there was no care. So they did very harsh things to them.
Mhm.
And because of this torture or abuse, sexual and physical, they had a very tough experience. And because they were neglected up to they don't speak with each other. They do some vocal tones. So it was a massive experience, not for all, okay? But Prospery, this scientist, was fortunate to see them and to examine them just after Nikolai Ceausescu went. So this is a case of what happened in the Romanian orphan, not everyone. We have a little piece of this and this in normal life, in our normal life. Did I answer?
Yes, yes, I see where the
Because and it's also a very dynamic. We can recultivate this or calming down this. We calm down this and we cultivate this again and again and again. Can do it.
Yeah. So it's not permanent. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. It's very neuroplastic. If I do have a final message to that we can inherit what was came from my father and my mother, and I can do this inheritance for my sons. So I would like to let my sons and my grandsons have a better brain than I took from my ancestors. And this is our responsibility. Thank you for your question. Is it okay? Thank you, Sarah. I'm grateful, fulfilled. I need support, insight, guidance. Thank you. Thank you so much. Is it time to close? It is, to me, is 3 a.m.
Well,
and
were you planning on going? I was planning on 90 minutes, but we could stop.
Yes, okay. No. I thought that my time is okay, but you still have some time for questions. I will appreciate this.
So, and we don't have to go 30 more minutes, but let's just take a moment now and continue to open it up. So if there's a question or a comment, that's what I'm hearing. You're open to receiving questions or comments.
Okay.
And there's a number of them in the chats. I see a lot of gratitude. Just know every time you chat a gratitude, your prefrontal cortex is growing. So just by chatting in the gratitude, you're growing your prefrontal cortex.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Every time you make a request, I learned that too. Like even request, asking for what you need, and kind of pausing and reflecting. What do I need, and what can I ask? That process of reflecting on one's needs and cultivating a ask that grows the prefrontal cortex as well. That's remarkable. Just asking for what one needs. Expressing gratitude grows the prefrontal cortex. Giving empathy. Maybe that's why a lot of us do this work, because just by being empathically present to another, we experience connection, and the front of our brain grows, and all of the positive feelings come. So you're suggesting perhaps one of the gifts of being a healer is how the impact on us of the quality of connections that happen in the healing moments. It is growing our brain. So that's I guess I'm I'm sharing a little bit about a beautiful take home from me is that you've given us all of these different avenues or roads or pathways to growing our brain, and not just growing our brain, opening up our whole being for the appreciation of life. By growing this, it's like we can appreciate more about what is. We can savor life more. We can experience life more. We can be more aware. So it's like one bit of watering this garden here, these trees, helps the trees grow, and then they can receive more sunlight and more sunlight. So it's very good news that you're sharing. That's what I want to say. I think you're sharing very good news. You're giving us many different pathways to grow this area of our nervous system that can sensitize us to the world. And the last thing I want to say about that is, since 1988, Heart to Heart and our parent organization, Comienzos, has bringing this work into correctional facilities. And you can imagine in America's correctional facilities, and I'm sure it's not just in the United States, this area of the brain is activated a lot. The survival area, the fight or flight area is activated a lot. So when we cultivate a heart-to-heart community in a jail, in a prison, when we create a space for stillness, for sacred pauses, for empathy and connection, it has a healing impact on the members of that community, but then it reverberates out into the unit, the whole unit. I've heard over and over again, the whole unit is shifted where people live. And then their families are shifted. I heard just last week a man saying his relationship with his wife has changed by the way they're talking on the phone now because of the quality of listening he's bringing. So I think what you're saying is particularly important for traumatized populations in our culture and around the world. So that's a big take home for me. So I've said quite a bit. If you want to respond to that, you're welcome to.
Yes, I will respond with something. Besides, I'm sure that this is infectious. This is to be empathizing or compassionate to someone is infectious.
Infectious, yes.
Yes, it makes the atmosphere different. I am sure of that. And it's also, I will have to resonate also by neuroscience. Number one, when we empathize, we will have some pain because some part of this back part, which is the amygdala, is active with empathy. So we will have some noradrenaline, some adrenaline. So we will have some pain when we empathize with each other. So because we need to take their pain and see it. So we will have this pain. And when we are compassionate, which is very different than empathy, when we try to put a help after compassion, when we try to find a solution after compassion for the others, when we are compassionate, we use different tracts in the brain and we will have dopamine. So we will be happier. When we help each other, we will be happier, not in pain, like being sympathizing or empathizing. That's my first response to your talk, that when we do something to others, we are doing something for ourselves at the same moment, maybe more. We helping our brain by helping others. We're giving ourselves the beautiful dopamine. Before I give it to you, this is my first response. And about being, this is infectious or it's spread in the air. There are 3 parts in the cortex called mirror neurons, which tries to a group of cells collected in 3 parts here. It tries to read the others, That's how animals, people read the facial expressions of others. And this is the core of empathy. And this even happens before you express yourself. I can read it about a part of millisecond. Brain reads brain before they express themselves in words. It runs faster than the ear. And this is, it doesn't need language. It's like a sense. So I think this is behind the spread of compassion in areas, even through telephone calls. And this experience, I saw it once. I was in a workshop, maybe 7 years ago, and I was speaking with some woman, and she after the workshop, she called her son. He was a teenager, and he didn't reply for a while. He called him again and again. He didn't reply. And he said, "Are you mom? Are you really mom?" He said, "Yes." And he said, "Your tone of voice is too much different. Your voice is different. You look kinder than before." It was through telephone. The consciousness, the spirit changes. And that's how I like NVC.
The consciousness changed, the spirit changed.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Perhaps that is part of all of what we are participating in, and what the planet needs is for humans now in this time to shift our consciousness, to shift our spirit. I think the whole planet has been waiting for us, waiting for this moment, for this shift in consciousness. And every time we participate in it with our children, with our students, with one another, we are part of that shift in consciousness that all of creation has been waiting for, and perhaps all of evolution has been leading up to. Was there any comments in the chat that need to be explored? I haven't been looking at the chat. Is there anything there that?
Yes, from I read until Onsa, and then Jenny Anderson, Dr. Bay. Is it possible to reference this information you showed?
And Liz has the same question as Jeannie.
Oh, I didn't read.
Is it possible to reference this information you shared? If I were to share it with other non-clinical, I'd like to cite your work if possible.
Okay. I would like to write it in English. Sure, I would send it to you. I will send the possible references, particularly most of my references from Dan Siegel. Most of it from Dan. He's very famous neuroscientist right now, and I will try to translate it from Arabic to English, and I'll write the references for you. I will send it to you in a few days.
And how about the study on the Romanian orphanage by Bruce Perry? I think you said.
Yes.
If maybe just the name of that study, just so we can look it up.
Okay, I will send it included. But if you wrote on Google, if you Google it, Bruce Perry, you will find most of his work is about the same topic. Okay. Most of his work. about the effect of neglect and abuse on the brains of kids. He brought his experience, most of his experience from those Romanian kids. So it's enough to write Bruce Perry.
Okay.
You will find some videos, too much videos about him, and some, particularly if you have Bing.
Okay. Thank you. That's very helpful.
So when I receive these from Dr. Dobea and the video, perhaps by early next week, to everyone who's registered, we'll send this information to.
Yes, I will do my best to make it very soon. And even if you don't have, you can write the information just in Bing, and you will say reference. You will find some maybe different than where I came. I brought it from. So if you write the effect of the impact or the effect of compassion on the brain, on neurotransmitters, the effect of violence on the brain, what transmitters are arose when we are something like that. You will find many different references. Besides that, I was reading most of what I read from Dan Siegel, because I love him.
So I'll ask if there's anyone else here who has a comment or question that you haven't yet shared for Ahmed.
Noreen, grateful. Thank you so much.
Well,
okay.
So it looks like we're winding down then, if I'm feeling that right. Ahmed, anything you want to say to us?
I am astonished that I usually take too long time than I expect. This time I took very little time than I expect. That's nice for me. Yes.
Well, you got a lot of love here. I see the hearts, I see the gratitude, I see the blessings. I want to thank everyone who's here now, every people who were here earlier. This wouldn't have been possible if you didn't show up. So thank you so much for showing up. Even if you're viewing the recording, thank you for viewing this recording, for soaking in what we did tonight, for participating through the chat. And Ahmed, thank you so much for just what John said. You took a complex neuroscience and you made it, for me, and I think all of us, very understandable, very clear, and I would say very hopeful. So a real gift to us. Thank you. And I hope with the heart-to-heart community that you join us again sometime. This is part of our growing Peace Leadership Academy work, this occasional offering, and you are now part of it.
Would be my pleasure.
Thank you.
Anytime you can find me.
Thank you. And so for those of you who came from Philadelphia, from the Medical Mission Sisters, and Eric from Baltimore, from Arizona, for those of you who came from Egypt and North Africa, the Middle East, thank you. It's 3 a.m. now, so I hope you get some sleep, all of us, particularly you. And I hope to see you all again soon. It was a real gift. So let us say thank you. If you want to unmute. Oh, please, last word.
Yes, let me thank Joan, please. Thank you so much. Thank you, TC. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Landette. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Emily, Michelle, Amy, Kelly, Noreen, and the rest, I will see them after a few days and I will fight with them.
Oh, and I thank the rest, and Sarah, Heba, and all of you, Unsan, Ahmed, Enos, and Hagar. So thank you for coming. Bless you all. May we grow our prefrontal cortex daily.
Yes. Grow our heart.
And grow our heart. Amen. Good night,
Amen.
friends.
Good night.
Thank you,
Good
Ahmad.
night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.